Forte Catholic. This is your host, Taylor's Roll. I'm in the studio today with none other than Olivia LaJonathan Anselmi Harrison. Olivia, how are you?
I am fantastic. I can't believe you knew what my middle name was.
I can't believe I was right.
I mean, well, I do have an actual middle name. That was my maiden name, and I just kept it because I was like, what am I throwing that away for? So I just tacked on the Harrison.
I don't think you heard everything I said.
What did you say? Did you say Jonathan?
Yep.
What was that about?
I think I said Johnson or something.
What was
Welcome
that?
to Forte Catholic, where I don't remember the things that I said 25 seconds ago.
Jeez.
And you didn't hear them.
Well, I chose not to hear.
I compliment
Is that better?
I compliment you so rarely that even when I'm dissing you, you were like, "Oh,
Thanks.
you knew my."
I'll take it. I'm like an abused puppy. I'll take that treat that's dipped in cyanide. Thanks, Taylor.
We have spent. Usually, we see each other once a month. I come into spring where you live once a month.
Where I live once a month?
Where you live once a month. Yes.
Lately, yes, that is true, but yes.
And I come to see you there, and like every now and then you come and do the show. So once a month, sometimes twice a month.
Maybe.
You've seen way too much of me this week.
All right, calm down. It was one day because you got in at past midnight. So that's the same day, Taylor.
I did not get in at past midnight.
Yeah, you did. It was
got
like 12:15.
It was 11:56 p.m. on the dot.
Oh, for crying out loud.
I remember because I was like, I really hope I get there before midnight so she can't say anything. And I did, and you'd said it anyway.
I think it was 12:15.
It was not, because it was not yet midnight.
Whatever.
And I remember
So you're counting that as a day, as a whole day?
But then you spent the whole day with me the next day.
I didn't even see you till 12:30 the next day. I brought you Chick-fil-A and
all this
Starbucks.
to say, I had a very bad week.
Oh, for crying. And you're trying to say, and this is how God rewarded me, by seeing you too much.
Sure.
Thanks, Taylor.
That's what I was trying to say. Again,
it just got worse.
Everything I say that's meant as a diss, you're just taking as a compliment.
No, I was taking it as a diss. That's what you're saying. You're saying I had such a crummy week, and this was how God was saying, yep, it's even crummier. Here's Liv.
I thought you were saying you were the reward.
Oh, no. I know where I am in your lineup of people.
2.5 minutes in, and I've already stopped listening to you.
That's because I am below the pavement. I am nothing to you. Good. Go ahead. Tell us about your horrible week, Taylor. Go.
Reek. I do reek.
Tell us.
I just didn't sleep at all. Like, I worked for like 12 to 16 hours a day for all 7 days last week.
Tell us all about how hard it is to be a millennial.
It was.
Keep telling us, Taylor.
You haven't worked a day in your life.
You have no idea. Go ahead. I'm just seeing the Willy Wonka meme.
You know how like.
The Willy Wonka meme. Go ahead. Tell me more, Taylor. Tell me more about your hard week. 1 week. I love that. You're adorable. I had a really hard week. Go ahead. 12 hours.
All right. Liv's muted. So essentially, you know how like Kanye wrote that song, I ain't saying she a gold digger, but it was about a gold digger? That's the situation with Liv. Like, I'm not saying she's a gold digger, but I'm also not saying she isn't. That's a lot of double negatives just to confuse everyone on what I'm actually saying. While I muted Liv, she drank a swig of water and then almost spit it out all over the studio. So in the midst of this bad week where I didn't sleep much and I was stressed out and a lot was going on, and like even when I did have good, like I enjoyed my time with you Friday. I enjoyed all the free things you bought me on Saturday.
You had a really nice bed to sleep in for at least 5 hours.
I did. We'll talk about that in the last segment.
I was just saying.
I slept for a tremendous 5 hours. But whenever I get tired, the people know this. I have talked about this multiple times. My spiritual life falls apart. My relationships fall apart. My personal life falls apart. Like I get in this funk, and I'm not taking care of myself physically, and I'm not taking care of myself spiritually, and it's just not good. So that's the week that I had. And in the midst of this week, I did something.
Oh, no.
Olivia, Anselmi Harrison, Jonathan.
No.
Jonathan. That I said that I would never again do.
Oh, do you want to say this? Okay, go ahead. It's a safe space, Taylor.
This is a safe space. No one's listening. It's just you and me.
And wait, can I just say one thing? I have been concerned about you. I was giving you a hard time. You do not look yourself. I am now validating you. You do not seem yourself. You do not look yourself. You do not sound like yourself. I validate this. And as a friend, believe it or not, who does care about you, I do care. And so I am concerned. And I've told you that. I am concerned. So I do want to hear what it is that you did.
Here's what's strange about you, Olivia.
Wait.
This whole time we've been talking about me making fun of you and you taking it as a compliment. And then you turn around and say, I would like to validate you. You look terrible. That's not really affirming or validating. I'm not sure. You were like, let's be very real. I want to be very real with you, Taylor.
I made fun of your tiredness. I
You
feel
look really
bad.
bad.
All right,
Okay.
go ahead. You're tired.
So-
yes, please.
I did something that I said I would never again do. Something that I have not done in a decade. I'm not even joking. I made a very firm commitment when I was in college.
10 years ago.
Yes. Never again. That is what a decade means. I'm very proud of you. I made a commitment never again to get in an online social media debate / argument.
Ooh.
Wait,
there was online social media 10 years ago?
Yeah, you never heard of MySpace?
I didn't do that.
Facebook was a thing still. Like, it was still cool.
06, right? What was 10 years ago?
10 years ago.
09.
What year do you think it is?
All
I'm
right,
confused.
continue. We got it. Okay, yes, social media existed. All right, I'm with you. Go ahead.
Okay.
So you said no more, and what happened? So what happened?
Well, like I said, I was in this very difficult week.
Okay.
And
So you weren't really
usually, like, what it is for me is I see things that upset me,
Okay.
and I just let them go. Like, but I'm not strong enough when I'm on 4 or 5 hours of sleep,
Like
and
your
everything
Hulk came out.
Yeah, and it took something very specific, and the specific thing
Oh no.
that broke me out of this, and I'm not sure still how I feel about it. I was very upset because there was this young girl named Greta that went to go speak at the UN. Okay, and
with the braid.
yeah, and she was talking about climate change. I'm not big into politics. I don't talk about politics. That's not the point of this discussion.
Okay.
The point of this discussion is that I saw a ton of Catholic Instagram accounts, Twitter accounts, primarily those two, bashing this young girl.
Oh wow.
And not only bashing this young girl, but essentially what they were doing. And again, I don't have any skin in this political game. I have
Sure.
skin in the ministry game, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. They were saying, how dare the left use this young girl, this vulnerable young girl, to play their political game and to prove their political point.
Mm.
And at the same time, they were taking this young girl and they were using her
Oh yeah.
to make their own political point to say, look how stupid the left is. And I was livid. I think it might have been because like the week before we had just talked about the plank in your eye and the speck in somebody
right.
else's.
Yeah.
Like,
that's fair.
All I had to do was like, I have to say something. Because this is Catholic people who they're coming from a good place. They want more people to become Catholic. But the method of that is using this young girl to bash what they are against, what they're trying to fix. If you disagree with somebody and you're a good Catholic person trying to evangelize or trying to teach, which a lot of these are teaching accounts, often like traditional Catholic
Wow.
accounts,
Yeah.
trying to teach, the goal should be to change people's minds. The goal should be to bring people onto your side. The goal should be to bring people to Jesus. And not only were they not seeing the irony of using this young girl to bash other people, they were manipulating her picture to make her look worse,
Oh no.
which is just sick. It's just sick. Using this girl to try to make their point to people that would never listen to them. Liv, if I want to change your mind about anything, let's just take politics out of it. If I want to change your mind about something you said to your son, I was hanging out with you a couple days ago, and I want to tell you, my goal is to say something you did with your son was inappropriate, or something that you said to him was inappropriate.
Yeah.
My method would never be, Liv, you're a terrible mother.
All right.
How dare you say that?
Sure.
And then move forward.
Yeah, because I'm going to shut down and not
Exactly.
listen and not be open. Yeah.
I have just made myself an enemy to you.
Right.
So why would you listen?
That line of communication is going to be
It's
shut
gone.
off. It's gone.
Right.
Yeah.
So
sure.
there's no tact. There's another method. There's another way to go about that.
Sure.
Hey, Liv, like when we were with your son, like I don't know y'all's relationship all that well, but from an outsider's perspective, when you said this, I saw him shut down. Did you see that? Is that something that's, and just kind of let
Yeah, like
let
a
you,
friend, gentle.
right, and you're still like that has a better chance of either knowing that I'm actually in the wrong, that I misread something or I don't understand something,
Mhm.
or you going, yeah, you're right. You know,
Yeah.
it will very, 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 very rarely happen with the first method, right?
Right.
So here's my point here. Like, we as Catholics have to be better. And what I wanted to do, my natural inclination, was to come on here and just yell at the top of my lungs at how bad all this was.
Right.
And then I realized I was going to be doing the same thing that I'm talking against, right? Where I would essentially be making myself the enemy to other Catholics who, a lot of these accounts I follow. I like most of their things. This was one that I thought was inappropriate.
It was misguided.
Mm-hmm. I commented on it. I kind of went back and forth with one of these people, and then I stopped because I realized this is exactly why I stopped having these online arguments.
Yeah.
But it's like, it was this idea that, look, if you want to convert hearts, we're all going for the same truth. I don't care if you are a charismatic, if you go to the folk mass, if you are a trad mass person, you like going to the traditional Latin mass, if you are in Africa and you go to a mass where they don't have as many liturgical rules because they just have to make do with what they have. I don't care where you're coming from theologically, where you're coming from liturgically, where you're coming from anywhere. There are a ton of methods to be a practicing Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one thing I love about being Catholic. We are a universal church. We can go through all of these methods that are truly Catholic and grow closer to Christ.
Amen.
Here's the thing. If your method is hate, if your method is hateful, it's not of God.
Ooh.
It's not. God is not hateful. So if you are trying to prove a point and it is hateful, you have missed the mark. And you are now the person with the plank in your eye. And I have done this too. I almost did it with this segment. Like, look, we have to be able to take a step back. I talked with you about this.
Sure.
I talked with Father Anthony about this. And I was able to kind of vent, calm down, and be like, okay, what actually is the point here? Okay, I've talked for a while. Didn't completely prep you for this.
No, which I love.
Right.
Yeah. So, well, let me ask you this. What was it about this particular situation that happened in the news? I mean, that was all over the place, right? And it wasn't, and I know we're focusing on the Catholics, right? Because that's who we talk to.
Right.
But it wasn't just Catholics. It was really the whole conservative wing just kind of went after her, and we saw it happen. It blew up and of course everybody's moved on at this point. But you're still very charged about. I mean, this is still you charged after already venting to friends and family and loved ones. What was it, though, Taylor? What was it about this particular thing that happened in the news? Why? Why this girl? Why this story? What is it? Do you know?
Yeah, two things.
Okay.
One, because she is a child.
Okay.
She's an actual child.
Yeah,
so
she's 16.
Anyone using a child as a pawn
The personal gain.
for their own gain or to push their own agenda on either side. Both sides took this girl and tried to prove their points.
Okay.
It also happened and the second thing is it wasn't the political stuff because I don't care. I don't follow it. It all drives me crazy. It's not who I am. It's not what I'm focused on. But when it comes to ministry, I had to be able to find a way, and this is hard because I said my natural inclination was to come on and yell and make that person other. The people posting these things other. They are our people. These Catholic accounts that are posting these things that are mostly good. I know that I can't correct all of these issues.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those things that even saying this, I understand that there are these different methods. And I'm perfectly down with it, except when it becomes hateful. And it's just like, why are you ramming your head against the wall when it's not going to go anywhere? Like, your argument's not going to go anywhere because you are going so against the person that you are arguing with, which is why, I'm not going to come on here and yell that they are completely wrong or that they are terrible people, because I don't believe that, even though I might have said it 4, 5, or 6 days ago. I wouldn't have meant it. I was just upset, right? So acting out of that upset is never good. Yeah. So those are the two things. Hateful ministry, hateful quote unquote ministry, and using a child.
Okay. So what did you do? Have you kept are you continuing to follow these accounts? Do you private message? Okay, I guess my question is, I'm guessing this is not going to be the last time someone uses a child in the way that they shouldn't, especially ministry or stuff that, that you're passionate about, or anything else in the news that kind of gets you going. So what did you learn? Like, what do you do from this point on? How, obviously you have a platform. You could talk about it right now. We're talking about it, and that's nice. But you personally as a person, you're just a guy. You have these avenues of media, like everybody else, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, but you don't have a radio show. What do? Like, do you privately write people? Do you not? Do you unfriend? Do you unfollow? Like, what is your suggestion? Not that you have a solution, but have you come to anything?
Yeah, so I unfollowed accounts who showed a pattern of this.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah. So
that's interesting.
And the account that I was interacting with, because they proved a pattern of this.
Okay.
Other accounts that made a same mistake, but it's not a pattern, I didn't.
You're like, I'm going to give you another shot.
Right, exactly.
You're a human, and we've all had these moments.
And because I don't think that is the platform for me to change lives, this is the only, or change minds, like, this is the only place that I thought we could talk about it. I'm sure I know that there are people who listen that are on the very right politically, on the very right theologically, and my thought is that a lot of the people that I'm talking about probably don't listen because I'm me and they wouldn't want anything to do with me. But there are people listening to this show, and I know that they are, who are traditional and come from a very traditional background, who are not hateful, who are not pushing this on everybody. And even if they would say something like that, they would be joking, and it would be very obvious. Like, I have friends like that I talk to all the time, but it's a reminder to all of us. This is not the area that I think I struggle in, but I struggle in other ones. And it kind of became a more meta thing for me. And it's this idea that people think that they are holier than the church. And this is the challenge that I challenge myself.
Than the church. That's interesting that you didn't say holier than other people, but you said holier than the church. Go ahead. So that was interesting.
The church does not use hate to evangelize. The church does not use fear to evangelize. The church uses love and truth. So if you are going against the church, you're one of two things. You're a heretic, or you're going to remember it as a great reformer. And I think a lot of people today, it has become, like, in podcasting, in social media, every person with 4 followers, 10 followers, 1,000 followers, 10,000 followers thinks that they are a great reformer. And I just want to remind everyone, the amount of heretics that we have had in the church and the amount of great reformers we have had in the church is a very disparate number. So which do you think you are in?
Whoa.
It's a big difference. There's a huge difference in that number.
Are those the only two choices?
I think so. If you're going against the church. If you are, we talk about this all the time. If you have doubts about the church teaching or any of those things, that just means you're Catholic. But if you are actively...
That's called human.
Right.
Got it.
If you are actively going against what the church teaches.
There's only two choices for that. Yeah. There's only two reasons that you would.
Right.
Okay.
And
I think that's very fair.
Yeah. So... this hasn't been a very typical Forte Catholic segment. This has not been about making thoughts fun again. This is a something that very much
important.
It very much upset me.
Yeah.
And I wanted to talk about it, and I hope it came through right. So just kind of in closing, the church that we are a part of includes all these methods. It includes the trad mass. It includes Novus Ordo. It includes third world country masses. It includes all types of teaching methods. The church is Christ's body. We need to conform to being in his image and stop trying to make the church in ours. That's what I got. That's a segment. And I'm not sure what people are going to think about it, but I knew I had to talk about it. I've prayed about this a lot. I've thought about it a lot. I've talked about it a lot. And I couldn't not say anything. We'll be right back with Dr. Peter Kreeft, though. That's going to be fun. Don't go anywhere. Olivia, I said don't go anywhere. Stop leaving. Welcome back to Forte Catholic. I am your host, Taylor Schroll. Guys, I'm so excited for today's guest. Today's guest is somebody that I have looked up to and learned from afar for over a decade. I remember running into works from Dr. Peter Kreeft online and his books. And this was at the time that I was just getting into my faith and learning apologetics and learning the things that I should know and the background, the philosophy behind all the things that we believe as Catholics. And he is here with us today. Dr. Kreeft, how are you this afternoon, sir?
I am fine, I hope. One never knows, but I feel good.
One never knows. So is that a philosophy thing? We don't know how we actually are ever?
That's Socrates. He's the wisest man in the world because he knows that he doesn't know.
I love that.
I think he corrected me, but I think it makes me feel smarter because I very often don't know what I'm doing. Which apparently
you're
is a
not
good thing.
smarter,
You know
Taylor.
that, you're smart.
Yeah, that's right. Taylor then is a genius. Move over, Socrates.
Well, you know, my favorite sermon of all time is the 4-word sermon that God himself preached to St. Catherine, the late medieval mystic, when he said, there's only 2 things you have to know. 1, I'm God. 2, you're not.
Nice. Short and sweet.
I struggle with that one as well, but we'll,
Thank you for telling Taylor so clearly what we've all tried for years.
But I'll hear it from him because he's been so influential in my life.
Yes, he's written books. Yes, I've written nothing. So,
Dr. Kreeft, I got it.
God wrote no books. He inspired them, but he didn't write them.
God, I just love you more and more. Doctor, he's fantastic. Okay, go ahead, Taylor.
He is. Ironically enough, though, I was looking you up, but just to kind of touch base and make sure all of my facts were right. And you've written over 100 books, but God says that we should be like him.
No. I've published about 80, and I've written about 90.
Oh, okay. So
Taylor's
I'm
not good at math.
Very wrong.
But who's counting?
Exactly.
Not Taylor. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not Wikipedia. Is that where you got that, Taylor?
Absolutely.
Of
From
course
Wikipedia.
it is.
Yeah. I'm a millennial. I probably wrote it.
He submitted it.
But one of the first works that I actually found you in, I was like, oh, there's this Lee Strobel character who's writing this case for faith, case for Christ.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it was all this apologetics about the 5 hardest things that people have, arguments against Christianity, arguments against faith. And they right there in the first chapter is one of the best Catholics we all know. And it was you, Dr. Kreeft. And this was like, oh, cool. Here's a Protestant guy writing, and he brings in the Catholic to get all the real answers.
They do that all the time. When they need exorcists, they go to Catholics.
Oh, that's a good point.
It is a good point.
That is nice. They're utilitarian, right? It's just, they're just using you.
It works.
It works.
Well, you've got this book, not one of 100, one of 80 to 90, I've learned, called Probes. And what's interesting about this book is that you yourself, this isn't somebody that's giving you a 1-star review. This isn't somebody that doesn't like you, bashing you. You yourself said that this book is useless. And I want to understand what you mean by that.
Well, it's useless as, let's say, Scotch tape is useless, or thread. It's a tool. And if you don't use it, there's nothing particularly beautiful about it or particularly good. But if you use it, it's like a submarine, and John's gospel is like the sea, and you can go down deep into it and explore it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
He should write books.
He should write books.
I see this now. Yes, that's amazing.
Maybe he'll get to 100 with that encouragement from you.
We all need goals. Yeah. No, but I love that about the Scotch tape. I never thought about that before. Love that.
I got into an argument about this term useless on Twitter a while back with a priest, and he proved me wrong. And now Dr. Kreeft is helping him along with that argument as well. So,
you have a point there, because the most important things in life are useless: beauty, play, heaven. These are not means to any further end. They're ends in themselves.
Wow. No, that's so true. So did you feel that after you wrote this book, or did you know that while you were writing it?
Oh, I learned that from Plato.
Oh, okay.
It's all in Plato. All in Plato. Dear me, what do they teach them in the schools nowadays anyway?
Not much. No, it's sad. You should go out there. He's a professor, so he knows what they're teaching. That's why they're coming to him. I want to send my kid.
I learned more from a different kind of Plato than the one that Dr. Kreeft is talking about.
The
Maybe
kind that you
that's
play with in the that's what's wrong with your generation, Taylor.
Exactly.
Yeah, not the Plato off the shelf that's in different colors.
Your generation gave it to me. So, Dr. Kreeft, this book called Probes, it's an interesting style because it's not your typical, oh, here's a book and here's all the chapters, here's all the information, but you wrote questions. And I want to hear from you. Why did you write a book primarily with questions without answers? That seems like an interesting way to approach writing this book.
Well, that's like the great Jewish saying, why does a rabbi always answer a question with another question? And the correct answer is, why shouldn't a rabbi answer a question?
I see what you did there. It's a good one. So it's very Socratic method, I would think.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, it makes sense.
This is this interesting idea because you are this teacher by trade, this master teacher, this master philosopher, and yet you're not giving us the answer. So what are the benefits for people like myself who are talking to you or people reading the book to be able to read questions written by you? How am I going to learn in that way?
Well, this is not a book just to read through from cover to cover. This is like a laboratory manual, and your own mind, or better yet, the minds of a number of people who are studying it together, those are the laboratory. And in that laboratory, you actually perform experiments by asking questions and discussing your answers, and that's how you find out some of the depths in John's Gospel. These are not factual questions, most of them, that have one simple answer that you can look up. These are questions about what the gospel means. They're leading questions. Some of them have fairly obvious answers. They're marked easy. Some of them are quite challenging and difficult. They're marked hard, and most of them are in the middle.
Okay, so I have a question, Dr. Kreeft. Since you have been a professor for years, have you seen a change in, every generation likes to say like, oh, these kids, they don't know anything. I pick on Taylor because he's younger than me and I call him a millennial all the time. And do you see that students today aren't able to deal with the Socratic method? They don't know how to deal with an open-ended question anymore because we've lost the script to communication the way that we used to. Do you find any of that? Are you trying to help us rediscover how to engage and discuss and think? Wondering how...
Well, this book I wouldn't quite call Socratic method because Socrates always asked questions in chains, like a lawyer leading a witness on. One thing proves another thing. And that's a fairly difficult thing to imitate. Now, these are just individual questions that the mind of the reader of John's Gospel and the mind of the writer, John, can come together and, like flint and steel, strike a spark.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, I see. So you're trying to get the reader to go deeper into John in maybe a way that they would not have engaged before.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
And it's so interesting because I come from a ministry background where we're always trying to find ways to write questions that are going to lead people closer to Christ, to help open their minds, to like actually start thinking critically. So like, how long does it take for you to craft one of these questions? Because you have 1,450 in here.
A couple of seconds, I think. It's a really easy book to write. There's a little Socrates living in the back of my brain somewhere. I can't kick him out. Not that I want to. So obviously this book is not all my own doing. I mean, Socrates is there, the Holy Spirit is there, and my former teachers are there.
So I'll be better at writing questions when I'm smarter and older and have done this for longer, is what we're going to go with, huh?
So, well, were you surprised at how many you came up with for one gospel? I mean, did you sit back at the end of this and look at it and say, wow, okay, even for me, I cannot believe I came up with over 1,400 questions. That's incredible.
Well, frankly, no.
Okay.
Because John's Gospel is, at least to my mind, so deep and so profound, and I'm such a little ant compared with that Mount Everest, that I'm not at all surprised that there are so many ant paths up that mountain.
Oh, I like that. Nice.
So you want people to use this book, and you mentioned it a second ago, either in individual study or in a group. You mentioned at the beginning of the book how you're saying that a lot of lay organized Bible studies are growing, and you want this to be a tool to help people go deeper into John's Gospel. So what do you think are some of the benefits of being in a group where these questions are present, the Gospel of John is present, and they're able to share that within a group? What are the benefits there?
I think that personal friendship and personal interaction on the one hand, and the objective truth on the other hand, reinforce each other. You can have groups where it's just you share your feelings and your friendship and you don't talk about anything significant. Or you can sit alone in a book and read and think about things significant. But if you do both together, they reinforce each other. So this book is best used by a group because other people's minds are different than yours. Not only are they smarter or less smart, everybody's smarter than somebody else. Nobody's really at the top or the bottom, but they see different things than you do. So the fact that you have different people giving different aspects of an answer to this question is instructive. We can learn enormously from each other.
I love that. I'm in a men's Bible study that we meet every week. And there's all the different perspectives that I love, because it's like
Right.
I think about the scripture, or I think about life in a certain way, and having those other perspectives. It's like usually the people are smarter than me, but even when they're not, like Liv, like she does bring a special perspective to the
He's so
table
kind.
for me. So one of the things that you also go
I
ahead.
never met anybody who doesn't have some blind spots and some unusual wisdom.
Thank you.
That's why God made more of us than one.
That's right.
We just talked about that in the previous segment. Look at you. That's awesome. That's awesome. So you mentioned also in the beginning of the book how this book isn't just for Catholic Bible studies. You also say that all denominations could read this book, and even interested agnostics. What is it about this book that you think an agnostic would want to pick it up and read it and actually stick with it?
Well, if I were an agnostic rather than an atheist, technically an agnostic is somebody who claims not to know, and therefore they have an open mind. They're not closed and decided already. So an agnostic who knows that Christianity is the most influential religion in the world, and that religion has influenced more lives than anything else, and that the New Testament is the heart of Christianity, and the Gospels are the heart of the New Testament, and that John's Gospel is the profoundest of the Gospels, he would quite logically start with John's Gospel and try to figure out what in the world these Christians are doing anyway, if he were open-minded. So this is a book even for agnostics, but it's, of course, much more for people who realize how deep this ocean is, and then they'd get down in a submarine and expect to find some very strange-looking fish.
But you're giving them a way to go deep in a community, like together, which is what I think we are missing so much right now, is this, this lie of that either we're all alone, or we're only thinking this one thing, or you're not smart enough, or you're this or you're that. You're not a theologian. You can't approach the gospel, or whatever it is, that the lies that we believe. And you're giving what I think is so exciting about this. I mean, I'll use your word, a tool for us to come together as a group, which is what we were made to do, be in community with one another and kind of dive into this together.
The book, and certainly John's Gospel, is not just a means of coming together
Right.
as a group.
Right.
Coming together as a group is a means to understanding the gospel.
Exactly.
Group understanding is a means to an end. So if you're a group, it's like a fly. A fly's got 100 different eyes instead of just one.
Mm.
So one of the things that sticks out to me closer to the end of what you're talking about is that in the introduction, you have said that it's for everybody, that you would love for people to study this in a group, that an agnostic could read it and get something out of it. But then your challenge at the end is that this book should not be read. You should not go any further than the introduction if you're not going to open your Bible. Like, you have to do this with John's Gospel.
Yep.
And what I think is so interesting about that is it's so much, like, just as from my perspective, it's so much easier for me to dive into a book that someone has written about the scriptures than to actually read the scriptures. It's to read a book about the catechism than the actual catechism
Instead of actually going to the
itself.
catechism.
So I love that challenge.
There's a wise Zen Buddhist saying, a finger is useful for pointing at the moon, but he is a fool who mistakes the finger for the moon.
Oh.
You have to follow the
Wow.
pointing finger.
I imagine your house just filled with pillows that have all these statements written on them. That would be like amazing, because I want to write down all of these little nuggets because it's so true. I love the fly. I love this. This is fantastic.
I think this is my favorite one. It's like,
No, that's brilliant about the finger. Yeah. Taylor is going to sit and think about that for a while.
I am. I do get my head confused with the moon sometimes at night because I'm bald, but that's a whole nother problem.
You too.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a trend right now.
Not the sun, just the moon.
Just the moon. That's right. It's reflective.
The dead cold world.
I'm very sad.
That's awesome.
But okay, so to wrap this up, again, thank you so much for your time here today. But before we go, there's this one last quote from you. It says, for this book is not just a book, it's an instrument of a capital P person who talks back to you when you read it. So I love how you're using your book as a tool to drive us to the scriptures, as you said, that are like the moon in that saying. It's not something else. Like, this is not just a book that we read, but it's a person that we engage with. So what are your final thoughts on this, final thoughts on the book, and then how people can find it?
I think the Bible should come with warning labels, or maybe seat belts.
I like that.
When you read it, it's like looking outside a window and seeing another face looking in at you.
Oh, wow.
its own self-description in Hebrews is the Word of God is like a two-edged sword cutting into the division between the soul and the spirit, as a knife divides the bone and the marrow. It sticks into you. It's a sacramental. It's not a sacrament, but it's a sacramental, which means that God uses it to do stuff to you if you're open.
It's beautiful. I want people to get the book, Dr. Kreeft. How can people get it? What's the best way for you?
Ignatius Press or Amazon.
Awesome. Well, guys, go get the book. Dr. Kreeft, this has been an honor. This has been fun.
Fantastic.
I've enjoyed our time with you. I think I have gotten smarter, but I couldn't have gone the other way, as many people know. Thank you so much for
We're
your
better
time.
people. Thank you so much.
You are
Life
awesome.
itself is an honor and also fun. Thank you.
God bless.
Amen. Dr. Peter Kreeft agreeing with Make Catholicism Fun again. So, Dr. Kreeft, you are awesome. Liv, you're going to stick around. We have one more segment for today. If you are listening, don't go anywhere, because we're not going anywhere. We're stuck here, and you're stuck with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Forte Catholic. I am your host, Taylor Stroll, and I am here with Olivia Harrison. Olivia, how are ya?
Hello.
I really enjoyed that interview with Dr. Kreeft.
Oh my gosh. I might have geeked out a little bit.
The show has often been a way for me to talk to people that have no business talking. Like, I have no business
You
talking
made that
to.
very, very clear. I'm just
Well,
kidding.
thank you.
I'm kidding. No, you did a fantastic job. I was proud of you, Taylor.
Well, thank you. So, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, I've had a rough week. I got a lot of things off of my chest, and I didn't get much sleep. But one of the things that you mentioned with Dr. Kreeft on the line, you made a joke just for me to transition
he didn't
into
know,
this segment.
but you knew.
You mentioned pillows. What is it that you were saying about pillows?
Well, he had these like nuggets of amazing. I don't even know. Like, seriously, unbelievable. Like, I wish of all the times that I've been on the show that I had a pad of paper and a pen. Well, I guess I can listen to it later.
I was going to
I'm
say,
not
if
that
only
smart.
this was recorded and we could let people listen to it.
See, you bring me in because I'm so smart. Anyway,
Yeah,
so
you're the only person that I ever bring into this show that makes me look smart. It's why I love you.
that would literally be the only reason why. So I will listen back, but he had these nuggets, man. And I said to him, I was like, which I'm sure someone's going to listen. My brother has a master's in philosophy. Okay. And when he found out that we were
the
interviewing,
successful child.
yeah, he's the smart one. When he found out that we were interviewing Dr. How do you say it? Kreeft. He was freaking out. And I love that I said to Dr. Kreeft in the moments that I was allowed to talk to him, I wish you had, I bet you have all of these great like little sayings that you're saying, put on pillows and like cross-stitched all over your house or whatever I said. And I'm sure my brother did the whole like face palm, like emoji. Like when he hears this, he'll be like, why are you talking to anyone?
You called me in the middle of my Bible study yesterday because your brother wanted me to know that you didn't know much about this man.
I never heard of him.
And
well, I kind of heard of him.
Which
I mean, the name sounded
baffles me.
familiar.
Like you,
I'm the worst.
how?
I can't. I know.
I don't understand
know.
how you are so cultured but
know.
illiterate. Like,
Listen, I don't make any sense. It's like when my girlfriend got us tickets to the Sugar Bowl and we were in the end zone and I knew what none of those words meant. It was the A&M LSU one. I don't know. Like, does that happen all the time? I don't know.
No, it doesn't.
Okay, I'm not sure. So my husband hated me. He's just the men in my life are constantly in hate with me. That's all you need to know, Taylor. So you're in good company.
Well, yeah, I was about to say that's no surprise to me. But,
so yes, I made a pillow joke and Dr. Kreeft did not know what I was saying. But I do kind of wonder because he had some like, I don't know how he remembers all those things. Like he would just,
there are
one
these
at a
things in the
time.
world called
Just threw
smart
it down.
people, Liv,
Okay,
that you and I are not very
obviously
familiar
I don't run in those circles, Taylor.
with.
So
That's very obvious. You hang out with me. So you made another joke with pillows, and that's just your guest room. So I came into town late Friday night, because
not even a week ago. It's like days ago.
Yeah. So, and then you showed me to the guest room, and I walked into the
kindly
guest room.
let you sleep in a room for free with kindness. Yes, continue.
Yes, and this entire room,
Yeah,
the entire
the
square
entire
footage of the
room,
room was
you're so
covered in
dramatic.
pillows.
You are
Covered
ridiculous.
in pillows. And I have a picture, and I posted it, and I asked people. There were 12 pillows on this bed.
Is that true?
I counted.
You literally counted how many pillows are on my guest bed.
I had a lot of fun with this picture.
I don't.
I made it a poll on Instagram. I asked, this many pillows is, and the choices were insane or beautiful. Why don't you tell the people how that poll ended, Miss Harrison?
You know what? Fine. They said insane, Taylor. Are you happy?
did.
And who was this? Like, who even
77%
follows
of people.
you? What, 22-year-old guys? Is that who's who? Who is this?
You know who follows me the most? Middle-aged women.
That's so disturbing.
I don't know what that says about me or about them, but I'll let you decide.
Oh my God. Is that true?
Yes.
First of all, how do you even know that? When you look at the poll?
There's analytics on Instagram.
Stop saying big words, analytics. I don't know what that means.
Just because I'm dumb doesn't mean I'm not smarter than you.
Okay. I don't know why I keep coming here.
I don't either.
Okay, go ahead. So you and
of us.
your statistics,
So,
because I don't know how to say that word we just said.
I didn't know what to do with all of these pillows.
Oh my God.
So I just threw them on the ground and
So it
left
was
them there.
1:30 in the morning,
Mhm.
and you texted me, even though we're in the same house, and you had been in it laughing at my kid and my husband and myself because we were entertaining you. You then text me at
I've been
1:30.
meaning to talk to you about that. You're a terrible mother, and I can't stand how you talk to
You know, people are really going. You're the worst. You really are.
If you haven't been listening to the whole show,
Good
you don't get
gracious.
that joke.
Yeah.
If you're just tuning in and you just think I'm a jerk, and that's the point.
No, that is not what they're going to think. They're going to think I really am a horrible mother. Anything? No? We still love you, Chandler? That's what I always say from friends. Anyway, you don't know what that means. Could you tell the people I'm not a horrible mother? You have nothing to say? Fantastic.
It was a joke. Listen to the rest of the show.
I get a 1:30 text with just the picture of the bed, the guest bed. And underneath it, the millennial we call Taylor said, "What do I do with all these pillows?" ? Taylor, come on.
So I only had like 6 hours to sleep. I spent an hour and 45 minutes removing all the pillows from the bed.
You're so ridiculous.
Slept in the bed. The bed, once
It's
you
an awesome bed. It's
once
brand
you got
new.
through the 8,000 pillows on top,
It's the best.
the bed was very comfortable,
Yeah.
and I slept very good. But
It's
I
nice.
have to tell you a story about some sleep I didn't get earlier in the week, okay?
Okay.
I was on my bed that has two pillows, one for my head and one for my legs, and I go to sleep, okay? And it's 3 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
And you know how, like, when if you ever get woken up by something or someone, like when you're in like that
random?
deep sleep,
Yeah. Oh,
there's
yeah.
like the light sleep and you can pop up and you're awake and you're fine. And like that's where most parents live because
Yes.
like
Any
you're
moment.
always in light sleep because the kids could need something at any time, right?
Sure.
But I was so exhausted. I was in this deep sleep. I went to bed at like 1, deep sleep by 3 o'clock. Like
Yeah.
just, drool on the pillow kind of sleep.
Yes.
Like
It's a
and
good sleep.
I wake up and I feel something on my left shoulder.
Please stop talking.
And I'm like, it must just be an itch or something.
Mm-mm.
Because I'm in that deep sleep. I can't really think. And then the itch starts moving like
Please
the itch
stop.
has legs.
Taylor.
There's a baby cockroach on my left arm.
Oh my God.
I immediately,
No.
with my other arm,
No.
just flick it off. And I'm in deep sleep. Like most of the time,
I'm going to get physically ill. Do you want me to get physically ill?
I almost did. So
Oh my gosh. Do people know where you live though? They know you live in the state of Texas and those are almost like permanent residents here.
yeah,
Like
absolutely.
it's disgusting.
Absolutely.
No,
Like,
people don't know that about Texas.
they're my
They do not
roommates.
no. Like they think we're kidding, right? Like they think, oh, okay.
I posted this
No,
and somebody
it's a
said my
legit-
house was dirty. I said, that's rude.
Oh no. It does not matter. You could live in a palace that is like cleaned 24/7. It doesn't. These
Like your
things
house.
are disgusting. Stop. You're the worst. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so here's where we are. I'm laying in bed. I feel this bug. I flick it off my. I
Oh,
swear
God,
to
I'm
you,
gonna be
I
sick.
have no idea.
I'm gonna be so sick.
Minutes later,
Mm-mm.
you'll never guess
No, please.
what appears on the same exact place on my left shoulder while I'm sleeping. This time,
No.
I am awake. I pop up. I flick it off again. I hear it hit the wall.
Stop.
I turn on every light. I turn on the bathroom light. I turn on my lamp. I turn on the light in the whole bedroom. I find this little baby cockroach that had found the same spot on my shoulder twice.
You sure it's the same one?
Yes.
I thought you were gonna come back and be like, like how if like you see like a baby, what is it, like a baby bear, don't like attack it because then it's like mom is gonna come. I thought you were gonna say like,
Oh,
no,
no.
this one was ginormous, like a tree one, and I was gonna lose it.
No. So I find it.
Oh my gosh, you did not.
I crush it to 1,000 pieces.
Stop
I
it.
attacked this thing. I was so upset because I'm tired. I'm just like, "Rah!" Just getting after this.
Gosh.
Thing.
I don't even say their names. I will not say
They
that
don't
name.
have names.
I won't say. I call it an R. I will not call it.
Randy?
Stop it. I just say R. I'm just like to my husband. I'm like, there's an R. Get it? I found an R. There's an R, and he's like, and my kids. They didn't even know that it had names until they thought it was called an R. Now I say Voldemort. That seems less.
The bug who shall not be named.
This is what I'm saying. So you killed it, and then what did you do?
ridiculous.
Also, can I just say a tip? You flush that thing down the toilet because these things they're like Rasputin of bugs. They will
Is
stay
that what
alive.
the R stands for?
Ooh. It does now.
Radioactive, maybe?
Russian
Russian.
Rasputin.
The Russians
You
have
cannot kill
infiltrated
it.
my bedroom.
It will not die. So you put that thing, you are not allowed to put those in my trash cans. You're not allowed to put them outside. You flush it down a toilet. Is that what you did?
I did not.
See?
Because I
Amateur.
crushed it into this little
I don't-
space in my wall.
Doesn't matter.
And I couldn't get it out because it was crushed into
Oh,
it was like a
stop it.
dust when I was done with it. I was done. So here's what
What's
happened.
the point of this story?
I'm getting there. It's like I have a radio show or something. So this happens.
Oh, God.
3:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
And I have all the lights that I turned on at 4:00 in the morning. All those lights are still on because I tried to keep turning off the lights and go back to sleep because I'm exhausted. And of course, every time, that like phantom phone ringing
Oh, yeah.
in your pocket?
Yes.
I had the phantom cockroach on my body.
You could just say
I could
bug.
I could just feel it. I just felt Voldemort all over me.
Listen, that's when you burn down your house. Just strike a match. Burn it down.
So I wake up the next day.
Oh, my God.
And I have to share this. So
You did fall asleep, though?
I finally fell asleep. If you've been paying attention, I was very tired
Okay.
this week. So I played video games on my phone until 4.
And you
until
just passed out.
Until I was like,
Okay.
okay, I'm like out. Like I was like falling asleep, turned off the lights, and
Oh my
I passed
gosh.
out. Woke up the next morning, tweeted about it. And some people were like, you have a dirty house, you should clean it. And I'm like, you're a jerk and you're blocked. And then there were
So they don't know you're talking about them right now.
there were other people that were like, well, I mean, they can listen to the show still.
Oh,
They
I guess
just
that's
can't,
true.
yeah.
Hi.
Hey, Voldemort. So
That's right. That's your new name.
So I shared about it, and everyone had answers for me. And I didn't share this.
You're not asking for it. It's not a question.
I didn't ask for your
Guys,
help.
this is not
This was hilarious. to me.
participation.
The
Oh my
One
gosh.
of the other weird things that happened is that spot on my left arm was where I had gotten my allergy shot that day.
Oh, really?
I'm allergic to cockroaches, so I think
What?
Randy the cockroach felt Ralph his cousin
Stop
inside
it.
of my left arm. He was trying to
Okay.
save him.
All right, I'm sick now.
so-
Now I'm sick. Oh
so
my gosh.
everyone
this is
had-
worse than the tornado.
Everyone had suggestions. What do you call tornadoes?
Oh, tornadoes.
Well, all right. I'm
That
glad
was anticlimactic.
that went somewhere. Okay, so the oddest one, and this is a buddy
Oh,
of
that
mine.
someone said?
The oddest thing someone said. He's a buddy of mine.
You know this
No,
guy?
yeah. I'm not making fun of him a lot. I'm just making fun of him a little. Okay. Dean Willett. I love Dean. He's been on the show.
Okay.
And he said, he's a good, great Catholic guy. He said, you know what that means, right? And I go, that I should have my house
Sprayed?
re-sprayed?
Yeah.
You know, like we have to spray
Maybe
it
I
every
let it
6 months or so.
Lapse.
You know? And yeah, good English. So we had
See, I thought maybe you didn't hear it.
That's what I sounded like at 3 in the
Dang
morning
it.
when I got woken up by Voldemort. So
Baltimore.
yeah. He said, well, 3 a.m., we all know that's when souls from purgatory come to visit people. So if you get woken up at that time, you have to pray for them. And I go, Dean.
Yeah.
What?
What?
What? Like, I've been around the Catholic Church my whole life,
Mhm.
and I've heard weird things about, like, being woken up at certain times. Usually it's in scary movies, like demons are there. Like, I've heard
Ooh.
things like that.
What?
I heard that's, like, the murder hour. Like,
Stop it.
There's weird things that happen at 3. I never heard that a soul from purgatory is visiting you and should pray. Okay, so I do have to. So I called him superstitious as a joke. Dean and I are friends. We're playing.
Right.
Called him superstitious, and he's like, no, like saints have talked about this, and they've said that we should pray for them. And I was like, and then I share the Office meme. You're a little stitious. Like, you may not be superstitious.
Maybe not superstitious,
but you're a little stitious. So Catholics are weird, and this is the final point we'll make today. Is that, look, okay, I love being Catholic. Catholics are weird people. Okay,
Sure.
We're all weird. We all have our things. Like, just try explaining anything about our faith to someone who's heard nothing about it.
You can't.
Like, most time when we do it, it's like they have context. Oh, you're
Mhm.
Protestant? Okay, this is how we're a little different than you. Okay, fine. But try to explain to somebody, oh, when you wake up at 3 a.m., it means that a dead person who's not in the eternal happiness yet has come to you asking for prayers. I'm like, okay, so Dean, are you saying that they were the cockroach or that they set the cockroach and they were standing by the door? Like, I don't understand what you're trying to say. So all to say,
Oh my gosh.
we have these superstitions. You don't have to believe them as Catholics. Like, not everything the saints said are the catechism. But
That's true.
at the same time, if you wake up at 3 and want to pray for a soul in purgatory,
I mean, that's
go
nice.
through it, but don't tell people it was the cockroach, okay? Like, let's just
That would
move
be my
on.
purgatory. Purgatory would be me with all the R's.
So after you die, because you're much, much, much older than me, after you die, every time I see a
I
cockroach,
officially hate you.
I will pray for your soul to get out of
I
purgatory.
cannot with you.
Is that fine?
Are you done?
Is that a deal?
Really?
We are done.
I'm
The
so
show is
old.
done.
I cannot.
I love you.
Oh my gosh.
You love me.
No.
We're a
you made
happy
me hear
family.
that word
Me,
a
you,
million
Voldemort.
times.
We're gonna have just
So what was the point of this? Pray for the souls in purgatory,
pray
everybody.
for souls in purgatory
and get your house sprayed.
And-
it's like reminding people for their flu shot. You're
Exactly.
doing a PSA.
This is my PSA from Forte Catholic. And you know what? That's the end of our show. Olivia, you're awesome.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for coming on the show today. Guys, we did it. I will be back next week. See ya.